Hello, this is Shayla here, and I'm here with a beautiful video about 7 ways to increase your intuition. Well, no, 7 ways to be more aware of your intuition. I feel like that's the main thing. Increasing your intuition is increasing your awareness, okay? A lot of times, all of us were innately intuitive, just automatically. We all have levels of intuitive abilities. It's just like we don't practice it. We don't practice being conscious of it. We don't practice being aware of it. And so, one thing I want to get clear about intuition is, what is intuition? And intuition is literally the ability to know before having the actual physical experience happen. It's also the ability to know before a logical explanation can be observed, realized, or anything of that matter. It's just this knowing. And the thing about it is that intuition is also like the way it's received. It can be a very subtle feeling, especially if you are not actively practicing it. It's very subtle at first. And it's also like it can be a gut feeling. It can be this knowingness, that just leaves an impression on you. And it can be really hard to pinpoint, especially if you're new about developing your intuition. So one of the things I want to clear up is, how can we be more aware of our intuition and be able to choose to follow it? How do we know if it's not just us making it up? Just something within our minds, the ego. How can I understand the difference between my actual intuition and myself, like just me thinking from my mind, or having some sort of illusional belief or conception or thought about something. How do I know this is something that's real? One thing about intuition, it does take practice, but with practice it does increase. And that's the main thing. If you practice any of these steps that I do on a consistent basis, I promise you will become more aware of your intuition. I'm sorry, your intuition and your intuitive abilities. And one thing that's very beautiful about intuition is that it is an everyday form of communication from our spirit to us. And with us being to understand that more, the more we're able to connect and receive information from our spirit team. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, you guys are going to be completely probably surprised on what I'm about to talk about. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is grounding, connecting with the earth. Now, I know most of the time when people want to, get into their intuition, open their third eye, they're always into the higher chakras, right? And the thing is like the higher chakras are just as important as the lower chakras, okay? And with that being said, if you're like a tree, just think about a tree, all right? A tree needs strong roots rooted into the ground. And therefore, with those strong roots, be able to be firm, to be strong, to be solid, to be able to endure, to persevere through the various different weathers, the various different types of winds and energy that comes through. Because when you look at a tree, just at its surface, you see the beautiful leaves, you see the flowers, and you see all the ways it expresses itself through its branches and the way it moves. And within that, with us developing our intuition, that symbolizes, the tree symbolizes us, the top of the tree. But in order to flow with the wind and still be firm within ourselves and who we are and our place in the earth, we must be able to be grounded. We must be able to receive this information and know where it applies into our life. That is a holistic spiritual thing, an energetical, holistic body thing that happens within us. I mean, it not only deals with the third eye. I mean, honestly, all the chakras connect, all right? From the root to the crown, it connects. It's a linear direction of how our energy is. And if our third eye chakra is more, or crown chakra is more active than the root chakra, then automatically it makes it unbalanced. It's like roots of a tree not being firm. As soon as some wind hits it, as soon as a hurricane comes, it's going to go down. Some trees survive the current hurricane, but it's like, are you firm enough? Have you structured yourself, practiced enough to be firm enough to where if a whole hurricane, a whole typhoon came, could you still be strong? And You know, I know all of us want to work with the higher energies, but always remain grounded for the ability to receive and practically put yourself of use with the information that you receive. Because as spiritual beings, you know what I mean, we're not trying to be just up in the clouds all the time. We're not just trying to, be like la daydreaming all the time. No, we want to utilize our intuition to benefit us right here, right now in this physical reality. All right. Sometimes I'd be talking to my spirit guides like, all right, what do I do? And with whatever I receive, they let me know. And I feel like that's the most powerful things about intuition is the ability to move with what I know and with what I see and what I receive. And if you're not grounded, it's going to be quite overwhelming, difficult, and a little bit hard, all right? It's just going to be a little bit more struggle to understand certain things because you are not grounded. You're going to be moving every which way. You're going to be easily influenced, swayed, or you may be really judgmental, okay? Because, yeah, I'm not going to go into that, but you must have a balanced root chakra in order to have a balanced third eye and crown chakra. Next is words of affirmations. All right, affirmations are so important. Okay, this is a beautiful way to basically reprogram your mind. All right, put conscious attention, into acknowledging and stating who you are, what you do. Like this, when we talk about the mind, we talk about reprogramming, I feel like everybody, at least if you're on this channel, you've had some sort of sense or knowledge or understanding about how powerful it is to use affirmations to reprogram the subconscious mind. So I'm not going to go like too much into detail about that or anything of that nature. I am actually going to just express certain affirmations that I've used myself that I feel like is very, very helpful to understanding the whole process and the necessary behavior, action, thought, energy that you have to put into in setting some time to increase your awareness of your intuition. All right. So I wrote a list over here. The first one is I am intuitive. Okay. I am intuitive. I feel like that is the most simplistic but yet so powerful affirmation out of all these affirmations, because you are basically acknowledging, like, yeah, I have this power. Yeah, I have this innate ability. I have the ability to know, to receive, to understand. I am intuitive. I acknowledge my intuition. And that's just, that within itself is already going to make you like 10 times intuitive based upon you saying it. The next I have is I know I receive my answers from within. I know I receive my answers from within. A lot of times we want to look towards the external. We're worried about what's happening around us. And yet we don't take the time to be like, hey, wait, how do I feel? How do I truly feel? Not ego based, okay? Not, oh, I'm going to make this decision based upon fear. No, I'm going to make this decision about based upon my anxiety. No, I'm going to make this decision based upon what I feel within spiritually. All right? We're talking about being spirit based, not anxiety based, not fear based, not worried about everybody else based. No. What is truly in alignment with me? And you can get that. You can get that answer from within. And that's what's so powerful about that affirmation. I know I receive my answers from within. Next, I am still and I am at peace. I feel like this is so a beautiful tool, beautiful power affirmation, because especially if it's like it's a situation where emotions a little heavy, or you may have an attachment to the circumstance or to the result or to the situation or to the person, you know what I mean? Like being able to meditate, being able to take some time and be clear, be still, be at peace, no matter what happens, to know that you're going to be okay. I feel like that in itself increases your awareness of being, of what aligns with you, being spirit based, instead of being victimized or moved by influences that are outside of you. I am still and I am at peace. All right. Next, I trust what I receive. I will know what to do. I trust what I receive. I will know what to do. This, I feel like, speaks for itself. I trust what I receive and I will know what to do. I feel like that is one of the most greatest intentions when you are actually taking the time to sit down, meditate, and receive some answers. Just trusting that whatever you receive is the answer, is what you need. And there's been times like I've been in meditation and I don't really receive much. I don't receive any. And then even then, that's an answer. The next, I am patient. I will be shown the divine way. So that's so funny I mentioned that. Because if you don't receive, say you don't receive an answer. There's been times I haven't received an answer, but then that was my answer, right? So patience. I will be shown the divine way, because a lot of times spirit will speak through experience. Honestly, every time you meditate, every time you are conversating with spirit, with the divine, you're expressing your needs, your wants, your desires, or just releasing. They are listening. They are there. Whether you feel them or not, I can feel mine more prominently every day. But in the beginning, I didn't. In the beginning, I wasn't for sure. So keep practicing and you will know. Have patience and you will be shown the divine way. Next, I love who I am. I think this one is also very simple and maybe surprising, but again, this deals with the chakras. This deals with your heart chakra. Now, going back to the chakras, the heart chakra is the gateway to the higher chakras. It's so important. The heart chakra is literally the biggest magnetic field in your body. And if it's closed, if you're full of hurt or pain, like that diminishes, that your aura becomes closed in. And one thing, the reason why I say it is the gateway to the higher ones is because there are 7 chakras. The heart chakra is the middle one. There are 3 on top and 3 on bottom. The ones on bottom, the root, the solar, the sacral, are mainly the physical chakras that deal with your personal physical energy or here on earth, okay? Then you have the higher chakras, which deal with more spiritual expansion. So that's why I say it's literally the gateway, because you have to be more open in order to have a more open mind, especially within your heart. I mean, even the earth is green all over. It is heart chakra energy. It is the love frequency. So being tapped in within your heart and being sure that you love yourself is so important, especially if you are wanting to increase your awareness of your intuition. Now, my third one is observing the alpha state. All right. Now, the alpha state, you'll know when the alpha state happens. Okay. You get in this like really relaxed state. And this usually happens right before you're about to fall asleep and during meditation. And what happens is that you'll actually start receiving these like dreamlike images, these colors, these shapes and shadows. You'll see all these things in your inner eye, in your inner mind. And when that happens, you want to just observe them. All right. If I'm about to go to bed, a lot of times, when I'm about to go to bed, or if I wake up and then go back to sleep, before I actually go to sleep, I have those experiences and I'll just observe them. I would literally just take some time to just sit in that receiving state and just allow myself to observe all the different shapes, the shadows, the people that I see, the stories that they're telling. I'll even go like other places for real. So when this happens, just observe, relax, allow, and receive. When you practice this, you are practicing receiving. You're not resisting, you're not forcing things, you're not trying to think things through and analyze, be like, what's this? And be like, well, like you're not even like trying to react too much or to be thinking. You're just trying to receive and understand. And the thing is what's pretty fun about this is that this actually increases like your clairvoyance. Like if you guys are visionaries or like really good at picturing things and seeing things in your mind and having these images, like this will enhance that, okay? This will enhance that type of level of psychic ability, that inner vision. Now, the next one is basically you want to practice asking yourself questions and feeling how your heart responds. All right. One thing that's I feel like people may not understand about intuition is the fact that it's not just all in your mind. Again, just like I've talked about with the chakras, it's a holistic experience within your body. Okay, so when you practice asking yourself questions and try to feel like through your heart, how you are responding, it's so it shifts your perspective. It shifts the way that you know whether or not it's you thinking about it, whether it's you actually feeling it. Okay, now there's other ways in which if you're very clairaudient, like you hear voices, things of that nature, like spirit speaks to you, in that way, then that's a whole different video. That's a whole different video in which, because that's a whole different form of communication. Right now, I'm talking about intuition, talking about a knowingness, that feeling that you have. Have you guys ever actually had this experience to where, you plan to do something, like you're about to do something, you plan something or whatever, and right in the midst of you doing it, you get this like very, very subtle thought, very subtle feeling, or this subtle, like knowingness, about something, but it was so subtle. I mean, like so subtle, like you didn't even think twice about it. You actually kind of like ignored it. I mean, you kept moving. It was just so subtle that it didn't even catch your conscious attention. And so you go through with whatever you're going to go through. And then, then when something happens or something doesn't work out, you instantly make this connection like, I knew that was going to happen. Or I like, what? I had a feeling. Or you know what? Yeah, I actually had a thought. Like, have you ever done that? Have you ever said that where you realize, wow, I had a thought or I had a feeling or, like I knew, like I just knew something was kind of like off. You know what I mean? But it's just like in that moment when you received it, you didn't fully consciously recognize it at the time. You just wasn't in that state. You just wasn't in that energy to acknowledge, hey, I'm feeling something. Hey, I think this is my intuition. Because I am intuitive, right? We just don't do that. And so to help us get out of that habit of doing that, because it's like ingrained within us, so, I mean, sometimes I do it, and I've been practicing and I've been developing myself, and sometimes I do it and I recognize it every time. I'm like, all right, I got a little bit more work to do, and that's okay. That is okay. Let's see. I know one thing, because usually one thing I want to bring up with following your intuition, knowing what your intuition is knowing that you received it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you were going, you weren't thinking about how it's not going to work out. You weren't thinking about something coming up or whatever the thought, the feeling, the knowing was. You received it. It just came to you. And that's one thing that is the difference between ego and intuition. It's not about you thinking it or it being in your mind. You know what I mean? It's about what you received and how you how the impression left this feeling onto you. That's one thing to definitely notice when you are practicing being more aware of your intuition. The next thing I want to get into, which is like super cool, super exciting, is writing down your intuitive moments. So, just like the situation that I just described, I remember when I first started wanting to be more aware of my intuition, I started writing every single thing down. Anytime I had a feeling, you know what I mean, and I saw the experience happen later, I would write it down. I would write down how I felt it. Did I receive it verbally? Did I have this feeling? How did that feeling feel to me? And then how did it manifest in the physical? That's what I would do every time. Um, Also, what leads me to writing down your intuitive moments is also journaling a little bit more. Journaling more often, especially if you are feeling confused, conflicted, unsure, releasing, and then as you're releasing, you'll know that you'll receive, like you'll naturally give yourself clarity based upon the information that you are basically channeling from your spirit team. Like they will speak through you as you just write and write and write. That's one of the things, because then you start accessing how you truly feel and how things are primarily in alignment with you, no matter what the situation is, no matter who it deals with, no matter the circumstance, anything of that. Journaling helps to get to the core of how you truly feel and what is in alignment with you. So that's another thing that I want to bring up when it's talking about writing down things. That's just so, like, it's so powerful, it's so beneficial. And then plus, like, going back and looking through your journals, like looking through your everything that you wrote, it makes you feel empowered. It's just another reminder of how intuitive you actually are. It reinforces your power. It reinforces your knowing of who you are. And I feel like that's just it. That's what's so fun. That's just what I love writing. I do that all the time. That's the main way I use my communication. So it's like, yeah, write down your intuitive moments. Do it. Because not only that, I made it my job to make sure that I know if my intuition is correct. And I still make it my job. It's like a full-time job, except it's like my whole life. It's a priority for me. It's a priority for me to make sure what I feel is correct, to make sure what I know is correct, to make sure what I am thinking, how I'm receiving things within my mind too, especially because I am clairaudient, so I do hear things, and that is a whole different story when it talks about your mind, because that is heard within your inner ear. It's like someone talking to you, and you listening to them, but it's in your mind. Like, isn't that amazing? Like, to be able to have that amount of space and have that amount of clearness to know the distinction between something that you're receiving, like a word that is given to you, versus to what you're thinking. Like that's a practice and that's a skill, and I don't want anybody to feel confused about any of that. So yes, that's a whole different video. So let's move forward to our next one. Okay, this one's another fun one, and it involves other people. So this is where you practice telepathy with others. Even though this deals more with the mind, it still like enables you to practice how it feels to receive, to know what it is to receive, especially knowing that it's something coming from outside of you. You know what I'm saying? From somebody else. In this practice, I want y'all to be clear that it's not about winning. It's not about getting it right. Okay, there are times you may get it wrong, and that is completely okay. I want to remind everybody with this telepathy practice, it's all about practicing it, and then just the experience, understanding how it feels. Understanding, like, if you are more tense, or more judgmental about what you're receiving, then you can know, like, what's really blocking you, what's really, like, the resistance that you're having towards receiving. I feel like it's just a great hands-on practice of receiving information right then, right there, and understanding, especially after, like, once you talk with the person, like what they sent, what you received, you understand right then and there how the whole process went, instead of waiting to see how things are going to flow, if that makes sense. It's just like practice, it's hands-on practice right then and there. So I'm looking through my notes. Let's see. So, okay, basically you want to do this with just like two people. If you're just first starting, just start with one other person. And basically you're going to have one person that's going to be sending information, and then the other person's going to be receiving the information. And then you guys can switch. So basically, when you are the person sending the information, I say before you actually begin, you guys want to talk about the theme. That makes it very simple. So it can be a shape, it can be colors, um, anything like that. Anything like that. It can be about the weather and, a different season. What season am I thinking of? And then when the person is sending that, I like to use a visualization exercise because I'm a visual person. So I literally visualize this line of energy. I visualize us connecting on a mental level. With that visualization, if you're the person sending, you send, because just in case that person is visual or clairaudient, I say the word in my mind and I visualize it. When I say it and visualize it, I send it. I visualize sending the word. I visualize sending the image that I have in my mind of a square. I say square and I send a picture of a square. And one time, I'll even say an example. So one time I did this with a friend, and she doesn't meditate often. People naturally have this intuitive ability and natural gifts, and that's what I love. And this was like my first time practicing with her, and I was sending the color yellow, and what she received in her own mind's eye was the sun, but she knew the theme was a color, so that's how she knew to say yellow. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing. Like, some people may be more visual than others, and that's what she received, and she got it right, like right on the first try. So I thought that was like awesome. I was like, look at you, like that's so amazing. So I was super excited. Now, on the other hand, if you are the person receiving, again, you want to just relax, and set that simple attention to receive whatever that you are receiving. You know what I mean? One thing that you can do is visualize receiving that connection. I have done that. Like, I just visualize it, like, yeah, I'm connected with her, so I'm ready, and I relax and I receive, and it will come. And I suggest, don't guess. You know what I mean? I feel like it's easy to want to think of something. So don't guess, just whatever comes up, in whatever way it comes up, just go with it. The whole point is the experience and the practice. So yeah, do that. That's just fun and a very powerful way to just understand and practice. I mean, you can even do this to where you're not just in the same room. Like, you don't have to be in the same room, you don't have to be in the same building, you don't even have to be in the same state or even the country. You know what I'm saying? So you can do this on virtually, like, hey, I'm going to send this to you, and that is just fun. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that, because that is fun. That is so fun. Okay, this one's also a great one. This one's about intentionally creating predictions. Okay, this is so fun. Okay, this is hands-on experience too, to where you can directly know whether if you were right or wrong. So I will give an example. Intentionally creating predictions. So I'll give an example. One time I was going to hang out with my mom. She was going to come over to my house, and when she did, she called me. She was like, hey, I'm 15 minutes away, and yada yada yada. And I was like, oh, okay, awesome. And I was like, that gives me just enough time. And afterwards, I went into my bedroom, I sat down on my bed, and I just closed my eyes. I did a few breaths to help me relax and clear my mind. And then I asked myself, what is my mom wearing? All right, goes back to the concept of asking yourself a question and seeing how you feel, and I was completely my mind was open, my mind was clear, and I was completely receptive. And I was receptive to the point that with my intention, it was like anything that gave me any indication of what she'd be wearing when she came into my home. What would that be? whether that was shoes, that was like a shirt she was wearing, a jeans, was it a dress, like, or what color she was dominantly wearing, anything. I was open to it. And I literally, because I'm also very visual too, I literally had a vision of her. I didn't see her face, but I saw from her neck, like, just like her shirt. And it was a long sleeve black shirt. And it was so awesome because when she came in, when I opened the door and I saw what she was wearing, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, you look so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just so excited because I just love it. Like, yes, like, this is it. You know, I'm powerful. And I would write those things down. I would write down my prediction. I would write down how I received it, how I felt, just so I could remember, consciously remember what it feels to receive information. And it was cool because it's like, I didn't realize, well, actually, I've always been visual ever since I was in started meditating. I would always see shapes and colors and images and stuff. But a lot of times, there were certain times in my life where I received a vision about something and I didn't know it was a vision. I didn't know it was a premonition. I didn't know it was a prediction. You know, it was just like, why do I see this? Like, what is this? You know, it was always confusing. And so, like, you know, your intuition, you know, if your intuition, you know, premonitions can come through your mind's eye. And I remember there was a time, like, before I started practicing about like writing things down and all that stuff. Like, I received a vision about this guy, and it was a guy I knew from elementary school. He even moved, you know, early elementary school. Like, I've never seen him, thought about him or anything. I'm like, why is this dude in my mind right now? Like, I remember I was so confused. And I was like, okay, well, you know, like, I know it means something. So I just kind of like left it at that. And then literally the next day I did public parking, and he was like, Shayla? And I turned around and I was like, I was way too happy. I was way too happy to see this guy. Like, I bet he was kind of confused on why I was so excited to see him. But I was like, oh my God, how are you doing? You know, like, it was just like, I wouldn't even known if he was like alive. You know, like, that's how like unconnected we are. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just like it helps you to understand when you have those feelings, you know, when it happens just spontaneously, and spirit just wants to show you, like, hey, this is gonna happen. Hey, know about this, understand this. You know exactly what it means. You know, you have that experience of what it means, what you're doing, what you're feeling, you know, and have hints of how it's gonna come about. So yeah, that's one thing that's so powerful, you know, about writing your predictions and practicing predicting, so you can have that experience, so you know what it means to have a vision about something. So yeah, that's another fun thing to do. So another thing I do want to mention is that you can literally make predictions about anything. I remember there was a certain point where my man, like, he was coming home at, you know, different times of the day. It was unpredictable. So I was like, let me see if I can predict, you know, like, anything. It can be about, you know, if you're gonna, like, there's times where I'm like, I make a plan and like a plan with friends and stuff, and I'll just automatically have this feeling, and I'll investigate that feeling. I'll pay attention, like, what is that? You know, even if I'm looking forward to hanging out with this friend and doing the activity that we're gonna do, if I have a certain feeling, like, I'll be like, okay, what is this? And whatever I receive, I'm like, okay. And usually if I ever have that feeling, it's because we're not gonna hang out. Something's gonna happen. And so when that happens, you know, I may be like, okay, is this like a me thing? Or is this like something gonna pop up in her life? Like, what's going on? You know, like, I'll literally just feel out the energy and see what I can pick up. So different things like that, you know, anything that you can think of, just try it, have fun with it, be creative. I mean, that's like the powerful thing about it. Now, those were the 7 ways that you can increase your awareness of your intuition. Now that was fun. That was so fun. I hope everybody really benefits, and practices these 7 ways, or, it doesn't have to be all of them, but at least one of them. Let me know how it goes. Like, did you predict something? How did it manifest? How is your process of feeling out your intuition going? I know there's so many different ways that you can connect and receive information on a day-to-day basis. And my purpose was to help you get more confident in your ability to know what your intuition is, how your intuition is being received, and how it feels like. I feel like that's one of the most main things, and even your ability to trust it. That is too. That's a good thing too. To ability to trust it, to know it, to embody it, to understand it. It's just so powerful. I know it's a practice, it's an ongoing practice. I've been practicing this for years, so it's like, I've gotten to the point where I definitely feel a lot more confident. And of course, I'm still learning and expanding and experiencing. And, I'm just so excited because these 7 practices have been a benefit to me in so many levels, in so many ways. It's provided me with a greater connection, spiritual connection, and I just hope that helps you out with your connection, your spiritual connection with your spirit team. Um, so let me know how everything works out. Did you predict something? How did it physically manifest? You know what I'm saying? Have you tried these practices? How did they work out for you? I love hearing about spiritual experiences and the different ways that other people express themselves in their connection with their self. I feel like it's so beautiful, it's so amazing, and it's empowering, and I would love to connect. I would just love to connect. So like this video if this resonates with you. Subscribe because there will be more videos. I do have more information that I would love to share, and I'd be happy to know your input as well. Just let me know. Let me know. When you like this video, when you subscribe, it lets me know that, I am actually doing a service to people and that people are actually listening. So thank you so much for everything. Just listening, being here. It makes me feel really good and empowered to be on here and communicating everything and connecting with you guys, because even though I can't see y'all, I feel a connection. I really do. So thank you so much. You guys have a beautiful rest of your day, and keep practicing.